Hey everyone, it's Lisa Bongean, and today I get to give you a tutorial on our first installment of our Scandinavian Christmas Quilt-Along. And this features my Dear Santa fabric from Moda. So if you'd like to make this quilt with the same fabrics I am using today, we do have a kit available. So this quilt will measure approximately 72 by 84. Now this is if you don't do any changes to it. I plan on doing a couple changes to it, widening out my rows a little bit, but I am not using the Santa panel. So this quilt will feature a Santa panel in the middle of it if you choose to make it that way. The kit will include the Santa panel, even if you don't want to make it that it still has enough fabric to make the rows without the Santa panel. So you're getting it as a bonus to make another quilt with. The quilt could be multiple sizes depending on if you put sashings between your blocks, if you are not using the Santa panel. So keep that in mind, that there are going to be options and you can make them along the way as you choose. So I hope that's clear. If not, just hang around and we will help you. You do not need to decide right away if you want to use the panel or not, because the first two rows in the quilt and the last two rows are the same depending on whether you use the panel or not. This Quilt-Along allows you to build a kit. So we do have a fabric bundle of the fabrics to make the blocks, and it will also include about 15 yards of fabric. Then there is a background as well. So the light prints in the line are kind of used in the middle of the block. You will see that when I show you it. And then the outside of the block, we are using a background fabric, which is Bella Porcelain, which is 9900182. So you can purchase that as well. All right, so we also have a packet of triangle papers for the whole quilt already pre-packaged for you. So if you want to order this, it is $21 and it is on our website for you to purchase. And it includes a couple extra sheets of each one that you need just in case something happens, like the dog eats one of your sheets or something like that. Each block will be provided as a download on our website for $5 for each one of the blocks. Now the blocks will release on the 2nd and 4th weeks of each month, except for November. We're going to give it to you the first 2 weeks because we have Primitive Christmas in that, and we want to get you all caught up and finished before that event happens. So we do have the dates listed on the releases. They are August 15th, 29th, September 12th and 26th, October 10th and the 24th, and then November 7th and 14th. So those are for all of the rows. And then the finishing will be, there's no finishing if you do the panel quilt. If you do the row quilt, you can decide how wide you want to make your rows and if you want to do any sashings in between. But be aware that the background is just for the blocks, not for the borders. If you want to put borders on your quilt, because I want to make mine king size to fit my bed, so I'm going to add additional borders to that background fabric that I am going to use. All right, so I hope this answers any of the questions that you may have. If you have any questions, you can call us or email us at our shop. store@primitivegatherings.us is our email, or you can call us at 920-722-7233. And my girls will be happy to help you with any of the questions you have on this. All right, so let's get to the first tutorial. So here is the block right here, and I have already made 6 of these blocks, and I have them all done and ready, except for the last one that I'm going to piece some of the sections together with you to make the components, so you are prepared to stitch them on your own exactly how I do, or you can do whatever you want if you're a seasoned quilter. One of the things that I want to point out about this Quilt-Along is we're using a lot of half square triangle paper, and Alicia loves half square triangles. So she prefers to sew 2 half square triangles together to form a flying geese. So we only have a few different units in these blocks because we're not doing so many half square triangles, so many flying geese, so many square in a square. We're making a lot of half square triangles. So some of you might question why we are doing this a certain way, and that's the only explanation I can give you, all right? Because we only have to give you directions for half square triangle paper. So keep that in mind, that yes, we know we could have made flying geese for some of these. We just chose to keep it more simple. So what you're going to do, you're going to download your pattern for $5, and you are going to, according to the directions, cut this many of the triangle papers, layer your fabrics right sides together. You're going to trim this on the outside, leaving about an 1/8 inch away from that solid line. And then you're going to pin this on your light and dark fabrics, right sides together, light on top, put this paper on, and then you're going to stitch all of the dashed lines after you shorten your stitch length. So you're going to lower that to about half of what you normally stitch at. And all of the directions for the triangle paper are here on this sheet of paper as well. So if you forget some of the things I talk about, it is right there on how to do this. So after they are all stitched, you're going to cut apart on all of the solid lines, and then you are going to press them to the dark and then peel the paper off. If you do not know how to do that, we have several videos out there on how to do this from start to finish. So I have 3/4 of my block done. So I have already pieced together some of the units here that we will need, and I have left some of them unstitched. So here I have to stitch this unit to this unit to that unit to make this unit here. All right, so I'll quickly do that, right sides together. And I have a 1/4 inch foot, and I am stitching a smidge under 2 on my machine here. So remember to change that after you stitch your triangle papers. I'm going to press almost all my seams open on this quilt. Why? Because that's just what we're going to do. You can press however you want if you don't want to press open, but it really makes nice flat blocks. And then you don't have to worry about like a little red string hanging out on the cream if you do it this way as well. Or dog ears. Sometimes I don't clip some of my dog ears. All right, so I just kind of give it a quick little finger press before I go to the iron. There you go. So now I have all 4 of these units made, and the goose is pointing to the center. So here I have my half square triangles laid out, and these blocks are all the same. So you can just stack these just like I have them here and sew them till they're all done. So I just have this 1/4 remaining to stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and do these 2 as well, and then go to the iron all at once, saving steps. We have them all chain pieced. Now I'm going to quickly separate them with my little thread cutter here. And then it's sometimes easier just to give these a quick little finger press, especially on a video, so I'm not going to burn my fingers or anything like that if I open them up right away. And we do also, when you're stitching like the rows together, have a pressing stick that helps us open our seams. I'll find it here in a second. I see the big long one, but I don't know where the short one is right off the bat. Maybe we can find it. If not, I'll just show you the long one and show you how that one works.
In the drawer.
They're in the drawer? All right. All right, so we'll quickly just press these open. See how fast that went? Okay, so now I'll build them back up, just like my diagram here. Hopefully I didn't sew them wrong. Oh, yeah. Just like that. So I'm just going to stack, stack. You'll know if you do one wrong if they don't match the others. All right, so now these two will go together. And here's where I line up that seam, and see how nice it is when those seam allowances are going open. So I just peel it back to make sure that it's in the right spot, and I can test it. So I'm just going to take one little pin and poke it in there. Now if you're brave, you don't have to pin because it's short. My iron is regenerating. Always does it during a video, never fails. I'll try to do this one without pinning. Couple more seams left to do. I'm going to, again, finger press that open. Now, I didn't talk about this earlier, but all of my fabrics are starched. So if you're a starcher or not, you may want to try it one time starching your fabrics, and then you might never go back the other way. And the reason I can finger press like that and they'd stay open is because of that starch. Okay, now I got to put them back together. And I know this isn't how it's going to be, but I'm just following that one up there, and then I'm going to turn it. So now these two go together, match up that seam. So see how perfect everything is coming out and matching? I don't even have to put a pin in that. Again, we're going to press these open, 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 open all the time. Okay, one last seam in the middle of the little block. So you're actually making 4 blocks per block. Guess if that makes sense. Make sure it's good. Points are okay. So here is where, especially to not mess up the other seams, you would park it on this strip stick to make sure everything is good. All right, so there's the unit that I just pieced. Now I've laid it all in my block here. And then now I can just sew this together like a 9 patch. So I'm going to sew these two and then add that third one onto the side. Again, pinning when needed to make sure things stay in line. And when you make these, I would make one block first and then I would mass do blocks. Like I'd make all of these for all of the blocks and then all of these for all of the blocks and then put them all together at the end. Unless you enjoy just doing them block by block. Whatever kind of person you are, that's the method you choose. Keep them in order. Make sure I don't sew anything wrong. If you do not have any of these design boards, those are really nice for laying out your blocks. And you can lay out multiple blocks on top of each other because they do not have slippery on the back side, if you see that. So you can stack all of your blocks as you have them laid out. All right, again, we're going to press open everything. Take my pin out on that one. I couldn't see it. It had a red head to it. Grab that stick. And then I press it on this side as well. Two seams left. Now we have just a few more seams to pin and match up on these rows. I'm like sitting way far away from my knee lift. All right, I'm gonna wait to press that one when I have this all together. Press those last two seams at the same time. Lining up the centers here. I for sure thought my bobbin would run out while making this block. I did not look at to see if it was full or not. All right, it's looking good. Back on my strip stick here. Big long seams now. There we go. So now I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a trim to even out my edges. I get this because I don't really pin my edges. Did you see that when I ran that through? There we go. There is our completed block. Now I can add it to the stack, and I have all 7 of them ready to go. And I'm not going to put it in a row yet. I'm going to just leave them in this stack until I figure out what I want to do. Do I want to put the blocks next to each other, or do I want to put a space in between? So I am going to hold off until the end to put mine together.